Hi, Kip. How's it going? Nice weather, huh?
Warm today.
Yeah, it sure is.
There we go.
Hello, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Is there any chance we can have a conversation with you and Dave, myself, and Julie?
All right, do you want to do it right now? Great. Hi, Julie, I'm Lisa.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
I'm tired of looking at that spreadsheet anyway. Trying to set my cheat sheets for the summer.
And where will we be meeting? Oh, okay, sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, well, this place is a lot larger than I ever saw.
Layla just told me Jake has an interview.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That means I'll have to move her though.
Yeah, who knows?
It's her husband.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. I'll be right there. It's in the air. Is it warm in here today?
I think it feels better than outside. It's a little cool outside.
Oh, is it today?
Yeah.
The reason we want to make sure that we have a peaceful interaction in the future. So
Yeah, I play at 5 rec centers, and this is the only rec center I've ever had problems with. You know, they're all very peaceful. And Dave showed up at Washington Park. He saw that, the pickleball community runs the pickleball at all the other rec centers. And he saw that the front desk isn't involved at all in the pickleball at Wash Park. He saw that today.
yeah,
He's our volunteer here, though, for the pickleball.
Well, I'm just saying you're the only rec center that has a person overseeing. They did have a person, Mark, who was in charge, but he yelled at a customer, Debbie, and got fired. Longtime employee.
And this is, Wash Park?
Yeah. So then they pretty much decided that's where the problem is. If someone's overseeing it, that seems to be the problem. Because when the community runs it, there's no problems.
well, guess I'm in charge, huh?
Yeah.
I like being in charge. I thought I'd tell you that.
That's why you're being replaced.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're going back to
I'm going back to my normal job.
your normal job.
Yeah. So I'm just interim here right
Oh,
now.
okay. And I know you're at MLK.
Yeah, I'm
when I
the
was trying to
aquatics
call.
program administrator.
Yeah, that's also a great pickleball program.
Yeah. So I understand that the upset that you had with. I really think it was an interpretation of the rules is the simplest way to put it.
Yeah.
And then the reaction to that. So that being said, I understand your point of view. I understand Gary's point of view as well.
Yeah.
But getting that upset over it needs to stop, and I'll talk to him when I see him. I haven't seen him yet.
He's had cataract surgery. He couldn't see, so he had cataract surgery.
Well,
He'll be
he's
out for a while.
He's out of town, isn't he? So
No,
I hear
he's had
traveling.
cataract surgery.
But anyway, so I will speak to him when he comes back. So
Okay,
it's
great.
Not a one-sided thing. Okay, I knew you were going to be here, so I wanted to grab you while I could. So we want to make sure that Dave understands too, that if there is that kind of conflict, since he is a volunteer, he needs to come to us, and we'll come in.
I felt that exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to make sure that's what happens. In the
Okay,
future,
great.
Okay?
That's great.
So, and then Layla is taking upon herself to actually do a little more monitoring, going through and watching what's
Great.
going on
That's
as well.
positive as well.
So, because we want this to be a positive experience, we don't want you to have I don't want Dave to have a negative experience either, because we value what he does here as well.
Yeah, but
So,
he's
and-
a volunteer. I'm paid to come here.
I know.
It's a little different.
Well, we value our volunteers throughout our system. If we didn't have
I hope you
volunteers-
volunteer your customers because we pay for the rec center.
Oh, I do value you as well.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to.
It
I
seems
don't
like you're
wanna-
putting him above me.
No. I'm
Okay.
not.
All
not,
right,
'cause
thank you.
We did discuss that kind of anger is not appropriate, and
Okay.
it won't happen in the future.
Oh, great.
That
That's
kind of-
great to
okay.
know.
So we did talk to him about it.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons he needs to come and talk to us as well before
Okay.
something like that blows up.
Right.
Before tempers get too hot. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware, that Dave was aware, that this is what we want to have happen going forward, so that it can be a positive experience. Now, he does run it a little differently here. It's the way because he wants everybody to get a chance to play with other people, so you have a chance to have a little different experience. And I do that. Heck, I do that all the time when I'm teaching classes too. I mix it up.
Yeah.
So that they're not always, for example, lifeguard training, they're not always saving the same person.
Well, yeah,
And
that's
it's,
the system that they do at MLK. So you never play the same person, especially if you have a winners and challengers row.
Right.
It always
And
splits
that's what he was
up.
trying to do here too.
Yeah.
So, okay, just making sure that we're all following the same line of reasoning as far as.
Yeah, I
what's
know
going
it's
on.
run like MLK. I play there.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know, do you guys have any input? Any
Well,
solutions?
yeah, so what happened was with Gary, I didn't want to play with him. I get a weird vibe from him, and I wanted to play with Miguel. And then Dave said, no, Gary and Barb are dating, so they'll fight on the court, and you have to play with Gary. And I felt like, well, just
Miguel
because they're
was already
dating,
playing?
please, could you
I'm
not
sorry.
interrupt me?
Sure.
And I felt like I didn't want to be forced. Usually the players decide who they play with. Like, oh, I played with you, I'll play with you now. That's the way it is, so we mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
But he said that Gary and Barb would fight, and that's why I had to go with Gary. And I feel like if I could have gone with Miguel like I wanted to, none of this would have even happened.
Okay.
And so that was the issue. So then I never served first. I was at the kitchen line. Gary was at the baseline. And he kept calling the balls on the other side, out, in, out. And when he did it like the third time, I turned to him very politely and said, could you please let them make the line calls? Because that's a rule. It's rule number 1. And so he turned to me and he started cussing and saying, it's in or out, I can make the call. And he started yelling at me and approaching me. And Cheryl Martin was on the adjacent court. She called me that afternoon and said, why was he yelling at you and charging you? And then he was screaming, and I just said politely, it's a rule. And it's rule number 1, actually. And then he started screaming profanity at me, you're making up rules. And then he got his things and he stormed off the court. And it was shaking so bad. And I didn't want to play. But then Dave grabbed a paddle and he came out and he goes, I'm going to be your partner. And I just wanted to leave, but I felt like I didn't want to let them down. And of course, we lost because I couldn't hit the ball. I was shaking so hard. And then, I went home without reporting it. And then I talked to Arslan Guri. He's the mayor of Pickleball in the rec center. I don't know. Do you know Arslan? And he told me, Alicia, you really need to report this. You need to talk to a supervisor, and you need to pull the video of the cameras and do all that. So then when I came in the following Friday, I went to the front desk to talk to Layla, and Dave saw me, and he ran to the front desk. And he started saying, you weren't wrong, but you need to drop it. You need to drop it. And he was preventing me from making the report. And so I kept trying to talk it, and I said, you didn't intervene or do anything, and then Dave said, I'm a volunteer. The rules don't apply to me. You're not welcome here. You need to leave. You shouldn't be playing here. And then I made my report to Layla, and then I went out on the court because Mary called me. She wanted to partner with me, and we were playing. We were in the middle of a game. And then I heard Dave behind me point, and I saw him pointing to me, and he's telling a group of like 5 people I play with, she got into it with Gary. And I turned and I said, well, he attacked me. And then he came out of the court, shoved his finger in my face, was shaking, yelling at me. And I was like terrified, just standing there. I didn't say anything to him. And then I saw Layla walking as slowly as she could. I felt like she should have ran, but she was walking out there. And then I saw her pulling on his arm. She was saying, Dave, Dave, trying to pull him off. And he didn't back down. She had to use considerable force.
Sorry, I'm just.
Well, I'm
step
allowed
in
to
right
speak.
there?
No,
Okay.
let me finish. And so I'm going to get the video, and I think it will support what I'm saying. It's under CORA, Colorado Open Records Act, and I made a request to get the video, Layla's salary when she started, any training Layla got, any training Dave got, and I'm asking for those public records.
Okay.
So,
Okay, sorry, I had a conversation with you, and I guess I just want to ask you, when you said you came to the front to file a report, did you try to do that with me? Because you and I had a conversation.
I was talking to the front desk person, telling them what happened, and then Dave saw me and ran from the gym up to the desk.
No, sorry, I'm just asking your report. You said you came in and wanting to file a report, and you had a
Well, no,
conversation?
report what happened.
Okay,
I'm
so
trying to
you-
report
okay.
what happened. That's what Arslan told me to do. He said, you have to report it. Because I told him I was so shaky and scared, I left.
Yeah.
And he said, you need to report it. So then I reported, nothing happened. And then I told Arslan, well, nothing's happening. And then he said, find the director and talk to her. So then I tried to get a hold of you. Every
I'm
time
in
I
and out.
call, they said, well, now she's going to be in at 1. So then I call after 1. She's in MLK now. Then I call. I was like trying to track you down. And then, you know, I play at 5 rec centers, and then I know everyone at the rec center. And so I talked to Noelle at Washington Park and told her. And then she told me, well, Lisa, I worked in administration, so I can contact Julie, and then and then Layla called me, and then, you know, we had a conversation over the phone.
And then, you know, I talked to you, I heard you out, and I asked you, you know, like what I can do, and I also told you as far as what we did with Dave. And so I just don't want you to feel like I totally disregarded what you were telling me, because we had a conversation with Dave, and also he stood behind the counter the rest of the time, didn't go out there, you know, just to alleviate any
He
sort of
glared
tension.
at me the whole time.
Okay, but prior to that, I was watching from the desk, because I also have my responsibilities at the desk, and I'm not sure, I feel like his name is Dick, the
Yeah.
taller gentleman.
Yeah.
You and him got into a
No, it wasn't me.
Yeah, it was.
Can I
No.
just finish real quick?
Okay.
Um,
And then I'll say.
and just so you know, I wanted to be as fair as possible, because there might have been some things that I may have missed. So I did review the footage just to kind of see, like, if I missed anything, you know, just to kind of sum it all up as best I can, and accurate as well. So let's just say you and him were kind of talking, and then you looked at me and you raised your hands, and immediately, as soon as you did this, I went out there.
Right.
That was dissolved. Then with the you and Dave incident, I was watching. You're right, I may not have ran out there, but you know, I've been at this rec center a long time, so I kind of know, like, if it's like something urgent, somebody falls and breaks a leg. Not saying that, but I did hustle.
We walked as
out
slowly.
there.
I looked to me.
Okay,
but-
and you have every right to feel that way, but
Well, to see what I
walked
saw.
out there, and I did get in between the two of you.
No, you didn't.
I did not, nor ever touch Dave, have to pull Dave away from you. My footage says so.
Okay, well, I'll get the cameras and review it as well. But
So I
he
just-
was in my face like this. I don't know how you could get, like, let me just, like, he was so close to me. I don't know how you could get between us.
Yeah,
You were pulling him from behind.
And maybe, you know, once you do request what you're going to request, and you
Oh,
do
I
see
already
that
made the
video,
request, yeah.
It'll help you, you know, kind of
Yeah,
Because
see
you know
the truth.
that was when tensions are high.
Oh, right.
Things tend
Yeah.
to like, oh, I missed that, or
Yeah.
oh, this happened. Oh,
And
this
then
didn't happen.
what happened
but-
with Dick, he picked up the piles and he thought he was next. I was never talking to him. Mary started going to him and trying to correct him. And that's when he yelled. And I pulled Mary back and I said, Mary, let them handle it. And then I got your attention. I wasn't talking to Dick at all. Mary was.
Yeah, but
And I pulled her back. I said, Mary, please let them handle it. I wasn't involved with that situation with Dick. But yeah, he lost his temper.
Yeah, and immediately when you literally
Yes.
did this, and like I said,
Right.
I went out there just to make sure everybody was safe.
Right.
Nothing
That
got
I
out of
appreciate
control.
that, but I wasn't interacting with him at all. I didn't say anything to him. Mary, my partner, was starting to approach him and talk to him, and then I pulled her back, and then I'm let them handle it, Mary, and I'm trying to get you over there so that Mary wouldn't. I don't think it's for us to handle those situations.
Right, and that's why I went.
So
out
that's
there
why
to
I
make
pulled
sure
Mary
that-
back, and I was waiting for you, but I didn't talk to Dick at all.
Okay.
So.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Like I said, I just from what I seen and then what I did, I'm just going based off of that.
Yeah, I called you
But-
in, but it wasn't because of me and Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And like I said, I personally felt I did when the incident with Dave. I went out there and then I had him come behind the counter and just calm down. I guess my question to you is, what would be a better response? Like, what should I have done to
Well, I've read, Arsling told me you should print out the Denver Parks and Recs rules and regulations. So I printed those out, and it clearly writes what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to write a report and document it.
We did.
Okay, great, because I asked for that in my public records request. And so I just felt like, no one was contacting me that says that, I would be informed of what happened, and really nothing happened after Friday. I reported it till I started trying to track people down. So, and then you did call me, that's true. But I just want it, like you asked me yesterday, what do you want? I said I want it to be, I play at 5 rec centers. I would like it to be like the other 4 that I play at. And it's not like that. So,
Well, and I think too, where it may be a little bit harder is, yeah, we are all under this umbrella of rec centers and we're all family, let's say, right? But we all tend to do things somewhat different. Like here, we do have a volunteer who has stepped up. He is out there managing it, doing what he's supposed to do. And that's just the way that it's run here. And we've been doing that, honestly, for a while now. And I don't think that, where you go from what it sounds like is kind of like you said, the pickleballers kind of just do their thing, which is great. And if
well, we
it
don't
works-
do our thing.
Well, I'm sorry.
We follow the rules.
Right, you go by the
Yeah.
rules. But
Yeah, the
But
rules.
you guys are in charge. There's no volunteer. There's
Right,
no staff member.
at all the
there's
rec
nobody
centers.
overseeing or anything.
Right.
But, Dave does a great job. He goes out there. He sets up the courts. He facilitates it. I mean, there's nothing's going to be
But there's
perfect.
nothing to be facilitated about.
And you have every right to feel that way.
Well, I
but-
just go by the rules
No, and I
of
understand
pickleball
that,
community.
But we do get, there's days where, that gym is jammed packed. There's days
Yeah,
where
same at
he
Wash
doesn't fill
Park,
all the
same at
courts.
MLK.
And for this center, it works. Having him out there, just saying, hey, next up, rotate, what have you. I'm
Well-
just saying for this center, it's been working that way, and that's kind of how it's ran versus other centers where there's nobody
Very
out there.
successful, yeah, and very
yeah.
friendly, and everyone really likes it. The best programs, MLK. I think the second is Wash Park, and Athmar is very good too. Harvard Gulch is very good.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and I understand that. And like I said, it's going to work different at different rec centers because we're all not the same. And
Yeah,
for
but-
here, this is the way that it's been and it's working.
Right.
Now if we got a lot of kickback saying, hey, I don't like this, and it was just like overwhelming, we definitely would intervene and say, well, what's going on? What's wrong? What can we do to fix it? How do we have these customers coming back? But
well, so
it's
you
work-
say overwhelming. So just my one complaint's not anything.
No, I'm just saying, like, if it wasn't safe, people were getting hurt. Like,
Well, they're
there
getting
was
bullied.
Fights. And the hard part with that is we definitely want to address that and deal with it.
Yeah.
But when we don't know what's going on or nobody comes to us and tells us, we're kind of in the dark.
Well, I was
about
pretty
it.
shaken up, but I did report the following week, but then I got, I felt like I got assaulted, so.
And we have our protocols too,
Yeah. Oh,
and-
yeah, I've read your Denver Parks and Recs codes of conduct, but Dave has yelled at me that he's a volunteer and those things don't apply to him. That's what he told me.
Rules apply to the code of conduct is everybody.
And it said
involved.
customers. I was talking to Arslan about it. It kept saying customers. And I asked Noelle, I said, the code of conduct just mentions customers. And she said, well, we have as staff our own code of conduct that we are supposed to follow. So that's not on the website. And then you have the anti-bullying statute that was violated twice.
And like
So-
I said, I'm sorry I wasn't here the Friday before, so
Right.
I don't feel I can't speak on it. But last Friday I was, and I mean, I felt I did what I had to do.
Right.
I mean, I didn't follow up with you. I should have followed up with you sooner. Yes.
Right.
But yeah, like I can't speak for the situation prior to that.
Yeah, that's fine. You watched the video. You could have watched the video of the Friday event as well.
Yeah, and which I did. But we can't. Yeah, it's just kind
It
of
doesn't
hard
have,
to.
we can't hear what's being said is the
Right.
problem?
Right, but you can see him charging me, and you can see him turning around and leaving. So that kind of collaborates
Actually, I
what.
haven't seen that video yet, so
Yeah.
I can't speak to it yet.
Well, that's fine. I mean, it's in your. But I requested those videos, so I'm gonna get those and see where it goes because I feel like it's a lawsuit waiting to happen here.
As far as just you being bullied or
Oh
the
yeah,
situation?
you can't treat. We pay for the rec center. You can't treat customers like that. That's a lawsuit. What happens if he loses his temper and hits someone? It's people with a bad temper. It's not a one-time thing. So they don't lose their temper once. That's usually their temperament.
Yeah, and yesterday
So-
with you and I in our conversation, I told you, I'm going to be more present out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I
um,
think it's needed with the tempers that flare out there. So that would be very helpful if you can watch and listen better. Okay. And I think if everyone learns the rules, that's why it's so successful everywhere. I don't feel like Gary or Dave know the rules. And I think if everyone, there's a lot of etiquette in pickleball too. The players decide who they partner with. If you're playing someone that is a lower level than you, you're supposed to be gentle with them. You're not supposed to make people feel bad. There's no profanity. These are all the pickleball rules. And there's also, that the other side makes the line calls. These are written. And that's why pickleball is such a strong community. It's because of the, people know the rules, they follow it, and they are polite. We have to exchange names before you play. At the end, you have to tap paddles. This is in the rules. And it's just a very politeness and etiquette, and then there's the rules, about the line calls, and you're not allowed to argue on the court or things like that. So if everyone just would learn the rules and follow them, and I think everyone knows the rules. There's just a couple people. If you have a problem, I would just focus on that person and educate them on the rules. Because you don't need to say, you were saying, I'm going to put the rules up for everyone. Everyone knows the rules.
Well, I was just saying as if there were the main 5. You know what I mean? We have that chalkboard. I could utilize it.
Yeah,
that
that's
way
fine.
There's a reference point rather than it's a rule. Because like I said, I'm not a pickleball player, so I
Right.
would be that person out there making mistakes, maybe frustrating
But-
others because I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, well, the community, we had a new player today at Wash Park, and we were telling her where to stand and how to score, and, and she was hitting the ball out of the air, and we're gently telling her, no, you have to let it bounce. And, it's up to the players to educate. But that's the thing, when I tried to tell Gary the rules, he screamed profanity and blew up. Usually if the player doesn't know the rules and you tell them, they say, oh, well, thank you. I didn't know that rule. But I think it was, he's a hot-headed male, and it was a elder female telling him something. And, there's men that don't want to hear anything from a woman. I know more than women, that type. And it seemed like that's the way he is. So, and that's fine. Barb, his girlfriend's lovely. But I don't think just because they're dating, they should never play together. That's not fair. And he said because they would fight. So then he fought with me. It could have been all avoided if I could have just played with Miguel like I wanted to. So.
Yeah. I guess I feel like it's going to be a little hard because there's just different expectations. Like I said, we have a person in place that kind of oversees it and has been doing it this way, and it's working.
He doesn't always tell us how to play, though. Just certain people he tells. No.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by tell us how to
When
play?
we walk out, he's like, you play with that person, you play. And he doesn't do that all the time. It's just certain people. And so it's not consistent. And that's not the way pickleball. Because some people don't want to play with the same person over and over. So they go out, and usually the 4 players decide how to split up. That's how it's done everywhere. That's actually the pickleball rule. The players decide how to partner.
Can you explain how we've done who plays with who here?
Yeah, I choose the strongest player and the weaker player, and they play together. And the other 2 people, or if people say, I want to play with them, and they say, okay, I'm going to play with that, I said, that's good. And I just let it go. I don't have to tell everyone, I usually evaluate every game. Because when we slide, all the new game is down on this end of the court, or this end of the gym.
Well, and it's his opinion who's good and who's bad. And some people can have an up day and a down day, or an up game or a down game. Yeah. So for him to use his opinion is not right. It should be the players who decide how they partner. Well, that's the way it is at every rec center, at Gates, at every pickleball place. The players decide how to partner up. So that's just the way it is. It's weird, like here, they don't want to follow the rules. And that's where the problems come in. Because the rules, if everyone followed the rules, there would never be any problems at all. There wouldn't be. Because the rules address everything. Profanity, yelling, bad sportsmanship, who makes the calls, how you partner up, how you play against. Yeah, it does.
There's nothing in here about partnering.
Okay, well, it might not be in.
This is.
Okay, please don't yell at me. Well, I'm talking about on the PPA. We follow the PPA, and there's rules on the PPA website. There's the MPA and the PPA. The rec centers follow the PPA, Professional Pickleball Association. So. So, okay.
It's pretty boring.
So I feel like we've really discussed everything we need to discuss.
Okay.
All right. So I'll get the video and the records I requested, and then I'll go from there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for your time, Julie. You're welcome. Thank you. Who's this person?
Me.
Oh.
You should know what paddle by now. This is Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Kim and Jim.
Ken and Jim, nice to meet you. I gotta go to